Hello, my name is Michael Sanchez, and I want to thank you guys for signing up for the free complimentary course today. I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about the intermediate advanced level of playing the violin. But first I'd like to introduce to you my studio. So this is where I actually teach lessons on a weekly basis. I currently have about 55 students. I teach all levels of violin, beginner, intermediate, advanced. One of my students has been playing about 8 years. That's my most advanced student at the current time. But personally, I've been playing the violin for about 20 years. And I've been teaching full-time about 5 years. So private teaching is mostly what I do, and on the side I run Violin Tutor Pro as well as superiorviolins.com, which is my website where I have instruments and such. So I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about what I can teach on the violin, because I do this on a daily basis. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of tips and talk about what I have available as a subscriber of my site as well. So I'm going to give you guys kind of a sneak preview to that today. First thing I want to talk about is just that everybody's going to be at a different level, so it's kind of hard to do one video to talk to everybody. So maybe you've been playing 3 years, maybe 1 year, maybe you learned really fast, really slow, maybe you want to learn a particular style, maybe you really want to learn vibrato, shifting, different things. So just want to tell you guys that there's a lot of things that I have available on the site, not just one concept. So you can kind of pick and choose what you like the best. So as a teacher, when I teach lessons, I really highly encourage scales. When I first started playing the violin as a kid, I didn't like doing scales. But as a teacher, I've really started to learn that scales is truly what helps you to sound your best in the songs that you play. So if a student never does scales, and he's been playing even 5 years, 10 years, they just don't sound nearly as good as somebody that plays scales every day. So through my lessons, I really work hard with you on scales. 2-octave scales, 3-octave scales, and I have all of them included on the site, and I actually have different ways for you to do the scales. So for example, like a 2-octave scale, I have you do vibrato on the first note. C's. So I'm also going to have all the minor scales on the site that I'm going to talk about with you guys, melodics as well as harmonics. So maybe you guys have never heard of what that is, so I'll explain that to you guys on the site as a member. So scales are very important, and I talk in depth about them, and I actually give you lesson plans to where you can take a particular scale, a particular etude, a particular piece, kind of put them together. So that's kind of the basis of my instruction as a teacher. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about that I have on the site is shifting. So many of you guys maybe are just starting out with shifting. Maybe some of you guys have played in 1st, 3rd, 5th, 6th position, 7th, or higher. So there's a lot of techniques associated with shifting. So the biggest one that I want to talk to you guys about today is the thumb. So it's so important to move the first finger and the thumb together while shifting. I have so many students that just move their first finger up while shifting and their thumb lays back behind. Or let's say they're in 5th position, they're coming back to 1st position. Their thumb doesn't always stay consistent back to home base, 1st position. So I highly recommend doing that, and I talk a lot about the shifting technique, and I talk about finger angles a lot because that really helps you to be able to find notes. So many students have a flat hand like this when playing, so I highly recommend getting them up higher because it really helps you to find notes in all positions. So the particular there's a lot of shifting techniques that I cover on the site, so I highly recommend that you subscribe because you're going to learn a lot through the lessons. Next thing I want to talk about is probably the biggest thing that people inquire about is vibrato. So maybe you're sitting there and saying, I can't stand learning vibrato, it's so hard, I really struggle with it. You're not alone, there's a lot of students in the same boat as you. So vibrato is the technique of shaking the fingers. So there's a lot of technique associated with that. So it definitely isn't developed just overnight. It takes learning it very slowly and consistently. So I have a lot of drills on the site that are going to really teach you how to do that properly. And by the time you're done, I promise you're going to have a really great vibrato. Next, I want to talk to you guys about some other things that I'm able to teach, through lessons that I teach in my private studio as well. For example, changing strings. A lot of students don't know how to do that. I actually cover the exact fundamentals of how to change a string properly, and even all the strings. So let's say you have been playing on your violin for a year and you want to try out dominant strings or try out helichord strings. So I'm actually going to teach you how to take them off, put them back on, and put the new set on. Alright, next, I also teach a lot about performing, and a lot of students are able to play really well, say at home, but they struggle when they go out and audition or practice. I've auditioned a lot over the years. I've actually helped hundreds of students audition for, say, like school orchestras or professional orchestras. So I'm here to help you guys in that process. So there's a lot of things that judges look at when you're auditioning. For example, a lot of students just do the notes or just the rhythms to certain pieces. They don't look at the articulation. They don't look at the dynamics. So there's actually 6 different things that judges look at, and with a particular piece, I'm actually going to help you step by step to guide you to make sure you're doing all the elements of music. So, for example, staccato, or playing loud, or maybe softer, while still keeping your vibrato technique. So definitely performing and auditioning is a big part of what I have in the online lessons as well. Next, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about what I can do as far as teaching you to read music. So everybody's on a totally different level here. Some people have been playing the violin for years and have no problem reading. They can read all different key signatures, all flats and sharps. But some people maybe have always learned by ear and they've never had to read music. So I want you guys to know that I have everything available for you as far as learning how to read music. So by the time you're through with these lessons, you're going to understand exactly the letters on the instrument, where the fingers go, associated with different key signatures. So a lot of that has to do with scales. So I mean, like the B flat major scale. 2 flats, B and E flat. You're going to learn exactly what that means, and the techniques associated with playing those key signatures. For example, a technique would be, a lot of students struggle with their first finger. They have it very flat like this when they're playing the violin instead of being arced like this when playing flats. So that's something that we talk about in detail with the lessons. And anything articulation related, staccato, spiccato, off the string, you name it, I'm able to teach it. So please, always feel free to email me, rivertownviolin@hotmail.com. Even if you're not subscribed, you can always email me to ask questions. I also have a live chat feature right on my site, which is actually controlled by me at this current time. Until it starts getting huge, then maybe I won't be able to do it anymore. But at this current time, I'm actually able to respond to your questions directly. So if you're having trouble with a particular concept, you can click that button, screen pops up, you can type your question. I'm struggling with articulation, auditioning, scales, what do I do in this situation? And I'm trying to make it as personal as possible, so I'm right there to answer your question. As a member, you're going to get access to all my lessons, hundreds of videos. Everything that I teach on a daily basis is included. I'm really excited for you guys to sign up, and please let me know if you have any questions about the sign-up process. Again, my email, rivertownviolin@hotmail.com. Hope you guys have a great day.